Welcome to the 7 ways to find your beautiful Russian bride at the Love Tour. And in this video series, you will find out all the 7 secrets how to make your search for that Russian woman, for that Russian, beautiful Russian woman, the most rewarding. And by rewarding, I mean to have that dream woman by your side in a few short weeks. And I have a guest today with me, someone who actually took all the possible paths to meet his Russian woman, his dream Russian woman, and who spent tens of thousands of dollars and wasted 2 years on his search. So he's going to share with you the mistakes that he made, and so you can avoid them and to save yourself all that valuable time and money. While I will be here with you throughout the whole video series and sharing with you the advice about Russian women and how to make them tick and how to read them and how to choose them and how to make one of them yours forever. But I'm not a man, so I wouldn't know how you feel, how it is to be on your side. That is why I invited my guest today to share with you all his experience. And I would really listen to everything that he has to say because he invested a lot of money into learning what he is about to share with you today. So you don't have to make all those same mistakes, but follow only the results, the steps, follow only the steps that work and steps that produce excellent results in meeting that dream Russian woman. So, Glenn, would you please introduce yourself and can you please tell us why our viewers should listen to you today?
Donna, thanks for having me. Well, first of all, it's my pleasure to share my experience with you because I know how frustrating a search for a special person in life can be. It also can be heartbreaking or rewarding.
Yes.
I had experience of all of it and wish to whoever's watching this video right now to be able to avoid the frustration and the heartbreak and just move straight to the final thing, get the reward of having that beautiful Russian bride next to you. And you sure can if you really don't repeat some of the mistakes that I took in this process. So if you don't want to waste tens of thousands of dollars, and most importantly, 2 years of Christmas parties and other family events, you know how that is, without that beautiful woman next to you, like me, then this information will be valuable to you.
Excellent, Glenn. I know the process of meeting an Eastern European woman could be extremely devastating and costly, but only if you do it the wrong way. And we will talk about it all today. But first, let me ask you, why have you decided to even search for Eastern European woman? And how did you even got into this search and how this idea of thinking about, someone from abroad came to your mind?
Yeah, the idea of finding a foreign woman came to me after my divorce from my American wife, after dating locally and not coming up with anything. I'd been married to my high school sweetheart, and we were young and in love and believed that nothing was ever going to break us apart. And sure enough, several years later, marriage things changed. She changed. She went through that middle life crisis. I know some of you guys experienced that. And then all of a sudden, whatever I was doing wasn't enough for her. Like any traditional guy, I tried to save the marriage because I wanted to save our family, me and the kids and her too. We went through counseling and tried to keep the marriage together, but at one point I felt spent. It was just done. Everyone deserves a piece of appreciation of what they're trying to do for somebody else, but I just got done. And it came to the point that it was time for the marriage to end. I took the kids out of that unstable, harmful situation. Then it was time to get my own life going again. I knew that what I wanted was respect and gratefulness from the lady I was doing all this for. And of course, true love and all that good stuff. You know what I'm talking about, guys.
Yeah. Yes.
So anyway, so I realized that I need a traditional woman because I'm a traditional man. And I went to search that traditional woman. I did what everybody else does. We went to the dating sites and didn't have any luck with that. With really the girl I really wanted. So anyway, I went to search further. I had read and heard in the past few years how wonderful, traditional, and gorgeous the Russian women are. And one thing that I learned later and that was really great about them was that they have the values of our grandmothers and how they spend money because they had been living in a Great Depression for all those years, just like our grandmothers did. So I joined one of the huge sites and signed up for their romance store.
So how did it work out for you? How did it go for you?
Well, after wasting tens of thousands of dollars in 2 years of being with my beautiful wife, I learned that this was not the way to go.
Mm. Oh, okay. So, Glenn, have you ever communicated with women via emails prior to meeting them in person, prior to going on this tour? Have you talked to them by emails?
No, I didn't. I'm glad I didn't because I talked to so many different guys on the tour that spent lots of, $4,000 to $6,000, something like that, on
Wow.
looks, going back and forth with these girls, getting ready for these tours. I remember one guy, he was my best friend I made out of it. And that first night, he said, Glenn, I'll have to wait till tomorrow for the social. I got two girls coming from this city and this city. Next morning, I seen him, and neither one of them showed up. And
Oh,
oh,
wow.
that was the worst horror story because that was real personal. Because this guy, he's still a friend of mine today. Because I'm in Houston, he's in a nearby city. We're still friends to today. Anyway, that happened to him.
Well, you know what? You saved yourself several thousands of dollars, and that is great. And I personally don't even believe in those emails, communication, chain of emails, communications. I am always for, at least see a woman on a camera, at least talk to her on the camera, at least, instead of wasting all that time on letters, talk to her on video. That is, that's what I believe in.
Exactly. I mean, that is what it definitely could do.
Yeah.
You see all these photos in their profiles. You don't know for sure if they look that way or not, but if you see them on camera, recently, like on Skype, that's what they look like, and they get to see what you look like. So,
Yeah.
everything works out great. But anyway, getting back to my romance tour and that other agency. So when I got there, all of us, 40 guys, were thrown into a loud nightclub with about 200 women. Sounds pretty good. Well, anyway, so here are hundreds of girls. Go at it. Well, I was in the Ukraine, in a foreign country, so I had to do the best I could in this situation. I tried to talk to the girls in socials, but they didn't speak English or very little. Interpreters tried to help, but it was so loud in these clubs you couldn't really communicate. And the women seemed to want only to drink and dance. So my socials in Odessa ended up being a complete disaster. The girls seemed to want to just have fun. Nobody seemed to be pre-screened. Just whoever wanted to come to they just wanted to come get champagne and dancing. This big thing that they can't enjoy very often.
So what happened? Hold on. So what happened? I understand that you went on like some additional tours, some additional cities, right? After the Odessa one, did you go to some other city as well?
Yeah, the second city we visited was Nikolaev. Anyway, the same story. A couple hundred of girls, and I had no idea who I should go after. Hey, don't get me wrong. I love watching girls dancing, but I didn't go after around the world. I can go to a nightclub in Texas and see that anytime I want to. So, why go all the way to Ukraine for that?
Right.
But anyway, I got lucky and met Taisia in Nikolaev, who I thought was the love of my life for a while Anyway, she was very sweet. I mean, she looked like Cameron Diaz's little sister. If they walked up together, you'd say, oh, God, Cameron Diaz's little sister. Seriously. She was easy to talk to. She knew exactly what she was doing. And I felt that it was the perfect connection. We started spending time together and we talked about us being together. I mean, everything about her coming to the USA and everything. Well, she portrayed herself being from a poor family, so I wanted to help her get ready to come to the USA. So I bought her English classes and I bought her gifts, like any guy does. Hey, I wanted to help her getting ready for her life in the USA.
Right.
Anyway, I was captivated by her and came back to the USA a couple of months later and went to see her again. A buddy of mine, while I was there, called me up from the agency and said, "Hey, I see Taisia here, and she's meeting somebody else right now." So I'm going, "Oh wow," So that kind of started the end of me and Taisia. But anyway, so I found out later that she was just after financial gain and had several guys like me who sponsored her, with her not having any intentions of being married to any of them.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Glenn, to hear that. This is really a devastating story, but unfortunately, I hear a lot of things like this and a lot of stories like this. You know what? One other story that I hear a lot actually is when men actually end up in getting to get engaged to those girls on those Ukrainian tours. And then after they went through all this process, lengthy process of getting their fiancé visa approved, and so right before she goes to get her documents, that visa, right before that happens, the girl changes her mind, and now she doesn't want to come to the United States any longer. Have you heard the stories like this?
Yeah, I met a guy on the tour in Ukraine who had exactly this happen to him. I guess he
Oh,
had a lot worse than I did. He went further and wasted more time than me.
yeah. Well, you know what? In a few minutes, I really want to share with our viewers how to protect yourself and have, from running into these type of girls, from the girls who are, into the, in this international hooking type of thing, so to speak, and how to avoid and figure out if the girl is really committed to her search and that she would not have the fear of relocation as well. So, all right, but let me ask you. So, what happened next, Glenn? What happened after that?
Well, so I was back to square one. So after 2 years of wasted time and money, my hopes were spoiled. I had decided to go to the Ukraine on my own, using a local Ukrainian agency just to go on dates, introductions to these girls.
After all that, you went back to Ukraine. After all you went through, you went back to Ukraine.
Well, there were no other options. And I wanted to meet a Russian woman. I've seen enough of it to know that there are some success stories out there. I just wasn't doing it right. So anyway, I did that, and I didn't know about you at the time. So long story short, I ended up with nothing again, and more months of life had been wasted. Months
Hmm.
later, I got a call from one of my buddies I had made on that first Ukrainian tour. He told me about you and your Dominican Republic tours, which are great because you don't have to go halfway around the world to meet your Russian lady.
Yes.
So my decision was made up. Give you a call, which I was glad I did because this is where I met my wife for 7 years, who is now my ex-wife now. You want me to tell you that story now?
No, hold on. We'll get to that later. But listen, let's go back to the Ukrainian tours. So, in your opinion, these tours would be good for? What type of man actually you think would enjoy this type of Ukrainian tours?
Well, definitely for the guys who like to watch girls dancing in a nightclub. Hey, go to your hometown bar. I think if you have a decent one, you'll get to do it there. You don't have to go halfway around. Anyway, if you want guys who want to just have a fun time and don't mind buying a woman, because 95% of the girls there are those who party for party reasons only. Many girls even are married already and have boyfriends. They're
Mm.
care less of the relationship. They just want to meet the American man to start these relationships like Taisa did me to get money and gifts out of. So if you're after all that experience, then go for it, guys.
Uh, Glenn, you know what? Your experience is very informative, and hopefully, it really will help the viewers to make more educated decision in the future. Nowadays, I know that many men travel to Ukraine, while most men think that nobody actually goes there. Well, right now in Ukraine, there's a lot more Americans, tourists, more than ever before. So, I just in the past like 1 week, I spoke with with three men who just recently came back from Ukraine. And of course, they were telling me some really horrible stories, every one of them. So, for everyone who is thinking about taking such a romance tour to Ukraine, like Glenn did, here I want to give you 8 advices for you to follow to determine if if you really have a girl who has true intentions about you and about your potential relationship with you. So number one, when you are on those, on those tours, remember this thing. If a woman is after financial gain, the first thing that she will try to do is get you into the store to buy her things. So no matter which type of store, whatever, even if you just walking down the street, she will try to drag you into the first available store so you can spend the money on her. Number two, because you will be taking taxi while in Ukraine. So, and as you know, if you speak English, the prices they go up like 10, 20 times for the foreigners as soon as open your mouth. The prices, there's different prices for Ukrainians and there's different prices for the Americans in Ukraine. So in cases like this, because you will be taking taxi everywhere, a real woman will really try to negotiate the prices for you to save the money for you. So she is the one who will take initiative to negotiate the price. But a girl like Taisia, like Glenn described, she will try to get as much money as possible out of this taxi driver, and so she can get a cut. That's what they're trying to arrange there. Okay, so number three, these type of girls normally don't have a job, or they would be wearing some designer shoes, some designer clothes. So pay attention to this. Normally these girls would really in reality would not have a job. So if she's telling you like she is a nurse and you see she's wearing all this these designer clothes and shoes, ask her to show you where she works. Ask her for the name of the company that she works for and do the background check it out. Okay. So number four, like if you go to the restaurants and girls like this, they really would they would really understand the expensive wines and expensive foods. So bring this girl to a really expensive restaurant and watch very, very carefully how she responds to those prices. A poor girl, she will be astonished. She will be surprised. She will be astonished of how much everything costs in that restaurant. But the girl who really got used to that and going out to these expensive places and everything else, she will not even move. She will have no facial expression at all. She will not care at all. All right. So number five, to test the girl who might have a fear of relocation, here's what I would recommend you to do. Take her on a really lengthy vacation, like for 2 weeks vacation, for example, to a foreign country, with a foreign language, with a foreign culture, with everything where everything is different. And observe very carefully how she finds solutions to the problems, how she really navigates her way around. So watch very, very carefully and also pay attention to how often she needs to call her family, how often she needs to talk to her friends that are left overseas. And if she is missing them and if she is asking you to shorten that vacation, well, you know what? Here is your answer right here. Okay. And number six, whoever you're communicating with, it is really important to remember that a small city girl who never been outside of her country is most likely will not easily relocate to the new country. Okay, so remember that. But a girl who been around, who been traveling around, she will easily adapt to the new life, to the new life circumstance, to the new country. So don't be afraid to ask your girl about her travel experiences. How often she visited some countries overseas. And one very important thing: ask her how she was able to afford those type of trips. And if she is a poor girl, well, you really have to find out who was the one who was sponsoring her. So don't be afraid to ask those questions. And number seven, $1 million question. And I know how that sounds. So ask her if she won $1 million, what would she do with this money? How she would distribute it? Every girl would always mention something where she would spend this money on, something that is really, really important to her in her life right now. So is it really helping her family? Because that's what the poor girl would do. She would try to help her grandma. She would try to better the life of her family, mother and father. That is what the poor girl would really invest that money in. But so watch really, really carefully for her answers. By the way, that goes the same with guys. If you get asked the question, if you won $1 million, where you would distribute it, actually think about how you would answer that question. So number eight, a girl who is really into you will try to spend the time alone with you. But a girl who is after the financial gain, she will try to get her friends involved, her relatives involved into those dates and those relationships. Like, for example, if you invite her to a restaurant, okay, then most likely, and she doesn't show up by herself and she brings like one or two girls with her, and most likely they just came there to have a good time, to eat, drink, have fun, probably talk about their Russian boyfriends in Russian language, and the only thing you are there for is to pick up that check in the restaurant. So
This is spot on. This is exactly what happened to so many guys that we talk at breakfast the next day. What's your experience day for everybody? Kind of like a fraternity, everybody helping each other out. Well, you don't know how many times I heard the guy would go out and all of a sudden there's at least one girl, maybe two, and then they'd act like he wouldn't even be there. He'd be sitting there twiddling his thumbs while they're talking Russian, no telling what they were talking about.
Well, you know what? There are so many other ways that, besides these 8 ideas that I just shared with you, that would really give you a clear idea who you're communicating with. All right, Glenn, listen, thank you so much for sharing all this valuable information with us. Unfortunately, we really have no time left for, to tell the rest of your story, but we'll do it in the next video. We will talk about your ex-wife and how you ended up in a relationship with her and how she actually ended up being your ex-wife. So we will leave that for the next video, okay? I know that you got lots of things to share, and I know that anybody who is listening to this information right now, somebody who will apply all this advice that you are giving here, will save many thousands of dollars and lots of wasted time in the process. And for our wonderful viewers who are watching this right now, if you want to save yourself a ton of money and make your process of finding your future love pain-free, then I would really recommend you to check out the link below this video about how you can really do that and the place where you can do that. You will find out in this video the ultimate way of meeting real, legit, and committed women who traveled to the USA or Caribbean to meet you, and they travel there on their own expense. Glenn, would it be okay if men leave some of the questions and comments, below this video? Will you have time to answer any of them?
Sure. I'll be glad to help wherever I can. John, thanks for having me, and best of luck to all you guys finding that beautiful Russian bride like I did.
Thank you for joining, and see you in the next video where we will share with you some of the additional advice on how to find your true love at the love tour and avoid getting heartbroken and taken advantage of in this process. So see you on the next video. Thank you, Glenn.